morning, everyone.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
You got an echo going.
Yeah, we're working through that. That's why we're testing.
Testing, 1, 2, 3. Can you say something else, Judge? See if we get it.
So, sure, I'll talk because I need to talk to the deputy. The first guy on the calendar showed up at the courthouse and was told by folks that the courthouse is closed.
It is.
And it has no access to the public. Who? Oh, is it? It doesn't open. When can people start coming in the building? 8:30. Oh, maybe he was here a little early. Let me see if this is off. Yeah, should I mute here? How about that? It was muted. Yeah, but if I mute here, they can hear me. So I'll go back. Now
Yes,
they can
that's
hear,
better.
but it's
That's
with the
better.
echo.
Right.
Turning your Zoom sound inside of Zoom.
Can the other one in the courtroom be muted? Not you, Judge, but the other?
We'll see. Where's the Zoom?
Should look over all the way to the left. See a little microphone.
Yeah.
See what the
Ooh.
settings. Click on it.
Oh,
Audio settings.
Yes. And then bring it down and mute it.
It won't let me go any lower.
I can't see that checkbox. Is the checkbox under here? Oh, take out the automatically adjust. Now I should be able to drag it down.
Okay. Is that better? Let's see. Less of an echo.
kinda.
Try again. Try talking. again.
How's everyone doing today?
That's better.
That's better.
Lower, more, you think? Okay. How about now? Even less of an echo?
Oh, you got worse for me.
Yeah. Can you hear me, Miss Hall?
I can hear you. It's just the echo came back.
Mhm.
Okay.
Is there a second Zoom thing going on in the courtroom? Like, because I see another 1D. Yes, him. Can that one be muted?
Okay, I just muted that, but I'm still hearing an echo.
On my end, it's better, but I don't know about everybody else, Judge.
Oh, they said.
How's that?
I can try talking. Can you hear me, Miss Hall?
Sounds better.
I can hear you. Tell-
Okay. Miss Calicut, was that better?
I can hear you. There's just a little bit of an echo, but we can, I'm okay.
Turn it down a little bit more here.
I need to
I
be able to
think-
hear them.
You don't need to hear me.
No, I need to hear Miss Hall though.
Yes.
A little louder for her. How about that?
Miss Hall, good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, can you guys hear Miss Hall? Okay. All right.
Good.
No, but it'll work.
Echo, yeah.
But
It helps when the guy in the yellow, I'm sorry, if you mute, it helps with the echo. Because I know they do that in 1C. So there's only one, just the judge's mic that we hear.
In 1C, they don't have the FTR, so
yeah, we have a different system in here.
Oh, I'm sorry, then.
No, that's okay.
Don't pay attention to me.
Well, but it's the problem is that every courtroom seems to have something different. And so there's not a one size fits all. And yesterday it was not a happy day for the technology.
That's what I heard, Judge.
It wasn't.
Get Ms. Hall to say one more thing. It sounds like Ms. Kellicoe was a little louder on the speak.
Well, I
Hi.
need to hear Ms. Hall.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have
Yeah,
a calendar
I can
today.
hear that. It just yesterday it was a lot louder. But let's just leave it for right now.
Okay.
If you don't mind sticking around for a little bit, because what happened yesterday is whoever set it up left and then the wheels fell off. And
That's why I stayed last time, because I wanted to
good,
see. Okay.
good. Okay. Well, I'm sorry for the delayed start. One, they upgraded this computer to some new version of Windows, so it took a little while to start. And then two, we're wrestling once again with the audio here. It's a final plea calendar. This is the time for defendants to let me and Ms. Hall know if they are going to try to work the case out or if they want their case moved to a trial calendar. Our first position is two cases. It's Joshua Floyd. He's got a 12 SC. And Ms. Kellicoe, you don't need to take any of this down. I'll let you know when we are live and this is being live streamed, but it doesn't need to be on the record till we've actually got a defendant with us. Mr. Floyd has a 2012 possession of cocaine case and a 2019 firearm by convicted felon case. Ms. Patel, you have both those cases?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Our dilemma is we need Mr. Floyd. He somehow got in touch with my staff to say they wouldn't let me in the building. And
He's on his way back.
told Mr. Floyd he should come back to 1D. I don't understand why someone would be turned away if they had court. So that's frustrating, and we'll need to work through that. But I can talk to Colonel Moffitt about that. And we'll wait for Mr. Floyd. It sounds like he did the right outreach to say, what the heck? You tell me to come to court and you tell me to go away.
Right, and I spoke to him yesterday, so he's probably confused.
Okay. When we get to a case that's not yours, you might want to shoot him a text or call. What was your understanding was going to be the game plan for Mr. Floyd?
Your Honor, I believe state was going to null cross position 1, and I have an offer on position 2 that I believe we might be able to take a plea on today.
Okay. Ms. Hall, was that your understanding?
Yes, Your Honor, the state is null crossing position 1, the 12 SC case, the 8-year-old possession case, and just waiting for Ms. Patel to confirm with her client, and we may have a negotiated plea today.
On the second position?
Yes.
Got it. Okay. Well, we will hold on for Mr. Floyd. Hopefully he'll come back. Our next position is a 945 matter. It is, I think, Ms. Hodge's case. I see Ms. Hodge there, and Attorney Bridges, and I'm guessing that's the Roderick on our screen. Can you hear me, Ms. Hodge?
I can. Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. Mr. Bridges, are you out there? He is connecting to audio.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Mr. Bridges?
How you doing this morning?
There he is. We can see you. Can you speak up?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. The volume is really low. Let's try turning something up, please.
Let me try.
Not you, Mr. Bridges, the folks here.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, Mr. Bridges, your client is Mr. Williams. Is he coming to court or is he dialing in? Where's Mr. Williams?
Mr. Williams is currently incarcerated in, I think it's Dodge State Prison, Your Honor. I could be incorrect, but he's in the Department of Corrections.
Okay.
DOC. Got it. Okay. So what are we planning on doing today?
Your Honor, this case has a long history of issue, and just to get to the point, Mr. Williams is currently incarcerated on these charges. In 2018, he entered a plea before Judge Downs. Judge Downs allowed him to withdraw his plea. At that point in time, he was serving another sentence in the Department of Corrections. When he completed that plea, apparently they did not have the order from Judge Downs to withdraw the plea. We resubmitted it to the Department of Correction. They still have not dropped the matter. We had Judge Ryder, who had this case prior to this court, enter another order stating that the plea had been withdrawn, but some reason Department of Correction will not correct the matter.
So is he in the Department of Corrections only on these charges, or
Yes,
are there
Your Honor.
other charges?
Yes, Your Honor. He's completed his other sentence, and now he's only in on these charges.
Why did he want to withdraw his plea?
Your Honor, I wasn't representing him at the time he did that, so I don't know. I've only spoke to him currently about this matter of trying to get this resolved. I can say that the District Attorney, Ms. Hodge, has made us a great offer that if I can convey it to him, we may be able to resolve it in that manner. But I don't know how to correct the Department of Corrections issue.
Okay, I'm looking at his docket here. Okay, so in October of 2018, there was it's not showing the apparently I'm just trying to figure out how it is possible that he's stuck in DOC. So he had other charges that had him in corrections custody as well, but your understanding, Mr. Bridges, is that those are wrapped up.
Yes, Your Honor. I actually reviewed it last night just to be sure. In reviewing it, says his current sentence had 2 years. His date of release, I think, is 2024, based on his current incarceration.
But he's withdrawn his plea on that case.
He has withdrawn his plea on that case, Your Honor.
Okay. Well, one option we have, Mr. Bridges, I know the Department of Corrections is not transporting people right now. So that could be one reason he's there and not here.
Yes, Your Honor.
We are able to create links like Zoom, but just using a different set of equipment. You could have a private discussion with Mr. Williams, and then if he wanted to resolve the matter, we could do that with that remote connection. And if the resolution involved additional custody, he's already where he needs to be. If it involved him getting out, I don't think DOC would keep him in custody. If his sentence was complete, they'd release him. I think our hang up right now is getting Mr. Williams from DOC to here, and that transit is shut down right now.
Your Honor, and I think that's a good solution, the Zoom meeting and everything. But I think the easiest thing might be, considering DOC's refusal to move that case, is if he accepts the current terms set by the state, we just modify his sentence and send it to DOC. And then that way, whatever he has at that point in time left, the DOC would just actually address at that point in time.
Oh, okay. I'm amenable to any of those approaches. I was just trying to make it easy for you to connect with Mr.
No, I definitely need to connect with him, Your Honor. I definitely need to connect with him via Zoom, a private Zoom would work. And I haven't heard from Ms. Hodges if my suggestion about the modification of sentence is something she'd be amenable to.
Okay. Ms. Hodges, what do you want to tell me about this situation?
Your Honor, I am open to if he wants to accept the recommendation to modify the sentence. So I think we're still just back to the matter of how to connect the defendant to his attorney.
Right.
Correct, Your Honor.
I'm trying one more time to get this order open. George, do you know why in Odyssey I click on a document and it comes up with a blank screen? Is that a recent issue?
Which document are you trying to pick open, Judge?
So I'm just trying to say there's an order. Don't worry about it. So I click to see a document and nothing comes up. He crashed once already. Well, no, just, we need to get this to work at some point though. I don't understand. All right, I'm not gonna be able to use Odyssey out here for right now. And we have this echo. Any ideas about what we can do about the echo?
I wonder. What?
While he's working on that. So Mr. Bridges, what I can do is set up, it's effectively like a Zoom call. It's through WebEx. You and Mr. Williams can have a private telephone conversation as part of that. WebEx doesn't have a breakout room, but if I'm the inmate at DOC, I'm sitting next to a phone. And DOC gives you the direct dial line to that phone. And so you can talk with Mr. Williams. We mute him so we can't hear what you two are talking about. But Ms. Hodges can plug in, and Ms. Hodges can plug in, you can plug in, and we can connect that way. I have to arrange that through DOC, but that's the way they are facilitating visual access to clients. Otherwise, you have to go through whatever the fairly strained process is for you to get a phone call with Mr. Williams. You may want to do that, but it sounds like there may be a way to work through this where we all connect through their WebEx system.
That sounds great, Your Honor.
Preference?
No, that sounds great, Your Honor. The WebEx sounds great.
Okay. Ms. Hodge, if we work with your schedule and Mr. Bridges to get a time for a WebEx session with Mr. Williams, does that work for you?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you and Mr. Bridges have come to an understanding. As I get it, Mr. Bridges needs to make sure Mr. Williams is on board, but there's not more back and forth, at least right now, between the two of you. Mr. Williams may say, hey, could you try to tweak it a little bit? And then, of course, Mr. Bridges would bring that up. But the two attorneys are at a balance point right now. Is that correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, when I'm able to get into Odyssey, I'll look at the order that Judge Downs entered, and we will set up a WebEx session. You all are able to remote in like this. You're also able to come to courtroom 8J, which is where we have this big fancy piece of equipment that lets everyone hear and see what's going on in the Department of Corrections. But we'll push that info out to you all when we get a date and time that works.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Your Honor.
That concludes my business. May I be excused?
Yes, sir.
You all have a good day.
You too. So I feel like the people who are talking on Zoom, why is it not coming out? It's like it's coming out some teeny speaker.
It's unplugged because it was giving feedback.
Okay.
How many more you have today, Jim?
We have we're going till 2 o'clock. We have a lunch break.
Regular speakers, I think they will work better without the feedback plugged directly into here, then you could hear, because that's what we use. We use this as an overflow.
Okay.
Feedback.
Okay. Maybe it didn't seem like it was coming through this speaker.
Right. So much feedback.
Oh, that's what.
Right. So now it's
okay.
not getting the echo. It'll give you an echo now.
Okay. So yeah, please unplug that.
Okay.
This seems to work better, and I'll just listen real hard. Did Mr. Floyd make it back in?
He's here, Your Honor. And
Great.
it will be a negotiated fee today.
Okay.
I did fail to call this Nelson, so I wasn't sure if it was the results, but I'm not sure if we'll have filed that or not.
We're not doing that anymore. She's gonna email me the indictment. I would look at it in Odyssey right now, but Odyssey is balking with the new Windows. So we'll take care of getting the indictment. It'll just be a copy of. All right, so we can do that. We have at 10, Mr. Thompson, and he's here. So why don't we find out what's happening with that, and then we'll figure out when we can take care of Mr. Floyd. And Mr. Floyd, I'm sorry you got sent away when you got here. We'll get that on the record a little bit later. So Mr. Thompson, is a co-defendant. Okay, Ms. Snyder, what's your understanding? What's happening with Mr. Thompson?
You're talking to me about his status calendar in May. I provided a his governor and a presentation from my expertise.
Okay, Ms. Hall, that was 2 months ago. Tell me what's going on with the state side of this case. You're on mute right now.
I don't know if it's important, Judge, but I couldn't hear anything that was said in the courtroom.
Yeah, we can't hear Ms. Patel.
Okay, they can't hear what's going on in court.
We can't hear it at all.
Okay.
I'm gonna get somebody to bring me those speakers down too, Judge.
Okay. Can you hear what's going on in court now?
We can
I can hear you.
We can't hear Ms. Patel.
Well, she's not talking right now.
Well,
All right, so what Ms. Snyder said was that 2 months ago, she provided, we're talking about position 4 now, Mr. Thompson, who's here in court. She provided a bunch of cell phone information and the work product of an expert that Ms. Snyder said was exculpatory, at least as to Mr. Thompson. And so then I turned to you, Ms. Hall, to say, well, you've had 2 months. What's going on with Mr. Thompson's case?
Well, oh, Your Honor. So yes, I did receive those records from Ms. Snyder. During this pandemic and COVID, it's been almost impossible to meet with someone because the state also would like for an expert review those records. We don't know if that would actually, exclude Mr. Thompson from this indictment or from the charges that we charged him with. But I did speak with my supervisor yesterday, and she's going to try to assist and expedite our expert that she has connections with to look at those phone records. But even beyond the phone records, there's a lot of other things that are going on in this case that is somewhat out of some of our control as far as the investigation process goes, because the defendants are both saying that they have or alibis, or it wasn't them, it was somebody else. The person that it should have been, one of them have died at this point. And so the case itself, beyond the phone records, that's not the only thing that's going to hold up this case. It's a lot that happened and a lot of confusion and a lot of mess that happened in this case. So this is a case that I just been working on as much as I can in between the calendars. So I haven't gotten to the experts with the phone records, and I haven't gotten all the discovery in this case at all, really, other than what was provided, all the discovery that was provided before I even touched the case. But as far as the investigation part, to try to see if what the defendants are saying is true, that part needs a little bit more time for our part. I mean, if we're just being honest about it, if they didn't do it and they're saying they were somewhere else and this was someone else, that they borrowed a car, that's something that we have to investigate. And it has been a little difficult with COVID going on.
Ms. Snyder, is there discovery that you're aware that you're missing? So what's this additional discovery, Ms. Hall? Ms. Snyder feels like she's got the discovery in the case.
Well, there's also jail calls that were never provided by my predecessor. That's the only additional discovery that I need to get, but there is a lot of jail calls. So that is something that I was getting help from my office. Jill Hollander was helping me with that. So, and there was an issue, Ms. McCauley was originally helping me, but there was an issue with the system. And that's something we've been working on for about a week and a half or 2 weeks now at this point. So that is, everything else was provided, 911s, body cams, a lot of evidence was provided, but it is a very messy for lack of better terms case. And I think it's something that we need a little bit more time to get into and see what really happened.
Ms. Patel, is your client on bond or is he in custody? He has 2 cases.
Correct, Your Honor. The cases are, they occurred on the same day. They just indicted them not on the same indictment. But I did email Ms. Hall and Ms. Nelson. I received a call from his pretrial officer, and she said that he's been sick and struggling with COVID for over a month, and that she FaceTimes with him twice a week and calls him twice a week, and he's not getting better. And so she recommended that he does not come to court because they had told him just to quarantine as much as he could.
So he's doing well with pretrial, he's not doing well with health, and so he's not here right now.
Right.
Okay.
And it would be the same announcement, Your Honor. The issue on my end is that my client was sent to prison for some time on a parole revocation because of this case. And then when he was released, the most contact I've had with him has just been recently. And there is a large volume of discovery that Ms. Hall did provide to us that in order for him to make the best decision, he definitely needs to review. And so our office keeps changing its policy of having visitors in our offices because of this virus. So I would ask for another final plea. I also just now received a couple photos that I have to send to Ms. Hall about who might have been the individual that was responsible for this, so that she can provide it to her victims to see if an identification could be made. So I did receive one of those yesterday, and I have the other, so I will be sending that to Ms. Hall shortly.
What's your request, Ms. Snyder? Ms. Patel has asked that this get moved to another final plea. What's your preference?
I would ask for the same reset.
Okay. Ms. Hall, help me understand why jail calls are difficult to get right now. I thought that was a fairly automated system where not necessarily you, but Ms. Hollander or someone could go into the Securus system and say, I want every call made by someone using PIN 1234, and you've got the calls.
Yes, that is true, Your Honor, but sometimes there's technical difficulties. That's what we're experiencing right now. I think that Ms. McCauley figured it out yesterday because another case that I was providing jail calls on is like over 3,000. She said when we spoke that it looks like she can download them now. So it wasn't an issue of us being able to hear them. It was an issue of technical issues when it was time to download them to provide them to defense counsel. And that has been going on for a little over 2 weeks now. But when we spoke yesterday, she thought that she had the ability to. She reached out to Jill Hollander to see if she can assist. That's when it started about 2 weeks ago. And so I should be able to have those in the next couple of days because it is simple if we're able to download them.
Okay. And why is it that you cannot get to an expert the materials that Ms. Snyder provided?
Well, it wasn't that I couldn't. I said that it's been difficult with COVID. So I reached out to my supervisor who has easier, faster, more convenient connections than I do. And so I forwarded that information to her, and she's gonna have one of her resources look at it and hopefully get us an answer back faster than I could. So it was just difficult on my part, maybe not knowing what directions, going the directions I thought, and they were landing me nowhere. So I reached out for help, and now I have that help. So we should have them evaluated or examined by the expert and have those results soon.
Okay, well, I don't want to set the next final plea date too soon so that all we do is repeat this conversation. How much time do you think is appropriate, Ms. Hall?
Well, I've never had an expert examine phone records before, so that is a question that I'll reach out to my supervisor and ask her since she's more experienced in that area. Because I don't want to tell you 30 days like what's been requested by defense attorneys, and then I'm told that it's at least 45 days to go over that amount of, I got 2 different documents full of phone records. So I don't know is my answer, but I can find out and let you know.
Okay. And will there be jail calls for Ms. Patel's client as well, or just Ms. Snyder's?
There was jail calls for both defendants, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, well, why don't you let Ms. Nelson know by the end of the week how much time you think you need. If we don't hear from you, then we will set this down for a final plea 1 month out. And if the case has sorted itself out, great. If not, we will put it in the long line of cases awaiting trial.
Okay,
do you
yeah.
need Mr. Thompson to stick around? Okay. Mr. Thompson, did you get something in the mail telling you to be here? Yes, sir. Is that still a good address for you? Yes, sir. Okay, if you move for whatever reason, you need to make sure you let Ms. Snyder know so we can get the system updated, all right? Yes, sir. All right. And then Mr. Norris wasn't going to be here, Ms. Patel, for all the reasons you mentioned. All right. Then why don't we, Ms. Patel, you're at 10:30 is the next case, and that's Duntrell Griggs, but we've got time between now and then to take Mr. Floyd's plea if you want to do that.
Yes, Your Honor, I'm ready.
Okay. Ms. Hall, do you have what you need to take the plea in position 2?
I do.
Okay. Ms. Kellicut, how are you doing on hearing the different people who will be involved? We will have Mr. Floyd up at the podium, and Ms. Patel will be at the microphone at the council's desk. And you'll have me. Are you able to hear all of us?
I'm able to hear you fine, Judge. I have not heard anyone else in the courtroom.
Okay, well, let's get them in their spots and we'll see if you can hear them. And are you able to
Thank
hear
you.
Ms. Hall?
Yes.
Great. All right, so Mr. Floyd, come on up to the podium. You bet. Are you feeling better?
We're just
sorta?
gonna experiment with
Okay.
these mics right now and see if they.
Mr. Floyd, why don't you spell your name for me?
Joshua, Joshua, Floyd, Floyd.
Were you able to hear that, Ms. Kellicott?
Yes, sir.
Great, so you're in a good spot. Ms.
Mhm.
Patel, why don't you spell your name?
SHYAMALPACEL.
Nothing? Not so much. So what do
Not
we
so
need to
much.
do to get the microphone there so that Ms. Kellicott can hear it?
Or can she be by Mr. Floyd?
Well, the goal is to have people not next to each other. And we have
True.
lots of microphones in this courtroom. So you could be.
I think when they speak, it's not going through.
These mics, it's that
Right.
little mic on the left.
Exactly.
So that's the suboptimal system.
Right.
Is there a speaker at the witness stand?
And that's,
What'd you say, Ms. Nelson?
Is there a speaker at the witness stand?
It sounds like the microphone that's working is the microphone on the laptop, which requires people to be near the laptop. I guess I'm just really loud if you're able to hear me because I'm far from the laptop.
I can hear
So
you
maybe Ms.
fine.
Patel, if you stood over at what typically is the prosecution's table, if that won't give you hives, then you've got a straight shot at the laptop.
Sorry, I thought it
So
was
try
on.
spelling your name again.
SHYAMAL.
That was all
Much
good. Ms.
better.
Kellicott is nodding her head, a happy court reporter. All right, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go on the record now. This is position 2 on our final plea calendar. It's indictment 19 SC 171985, State versus Joshua Floyd. Mr. Floyd is here in court with his attorney, Ms. Patel. And it's my understanding, Ms. Patel, that Mr. Floyd is prepared to enter a guilty plea in his case.
Yes, Your Honor. We
All right.
do need a copy of the indictment.
So we can, I'll see if
emailed it to
it's
you.
been emailed to me. But you also can authorize me to sign on your behalf and Mr. Floyd can do the same. Everything is technically poor today. I'm still trying to get email on this upgraded computer. So we'll work through the signatures on the indictment. Mr. Floyd, in order for you to enter a guilty plea, you have to be put under oath. Does the screen in front of you show the people who are on the call?
yes.
Okay, great. So Ms. Hall, she just waved, she's gonna put you under oath in just a moment. Once you're under oath, it's important that you answer all of her questions and mine truthfully and completely.
Yes.
So if at any point you cannot hear what someone's saying because of the technology, or someone says something that you just don't understand, or is not what you were expecting, will you let me know?
Yes.
Okay. Then I think we are ready to get going. I can't see email right now, so we'll get a copy of the indictment. My understanding is that it is a single count of possession of a firearm by a convicted felon.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
When you're ready, Ms. Hall.
Thank you. Mr. Floyd, can you please raise your right hand?
Yes.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you should give in the matter currently before this court should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. You may lower your hand. Please state your true, correct, and legal name.
Joshua Lee Floyd.
Are you at this time taking or under the influence of any alcohol, drugs, or medicine?
No.
Is there any medication that you normally take that you have not been given today?
No.
How old are you and how far have you gone in school?
39. Graduated 12 years.
12 years, meaning you finished high school?
Yeah, finished high school, yeah.
And Mr. Floyd, are you able to read, write, and understand the English language?
Yes.
Do you understand that you've been charged with possession of a firearm by a convicted felon?
Yes.
Do you understand that you have the right to plead either guilty or not guilty to that charge? And if you plead not guilty or remain silent, you may receive a jury trial.
Yes.
Have you had enough time to speak with your attorney, Ms. Patel, about all the facts and circumstances known to you regarding the charges in this indictment and any potential defenses?
Yes.
Do you need more time to discuss this case with your attorney?
No.
Are you satisfied with her services?
Yes.
Counsel, do you waive formal reading of the indictment?
So waived.
Do you waive any and all defects in the indictment, including with respect to the defendant's name?
Waived for the purposes of this plea only.
And do you waive for on a copy of the indictment?
We waive.
Mr. Floyd, have you been arrested on these charges?
Yes.
The state is unaware of any outstanding warrants that are related to these charges, to this charge. Do you or your attorney know of any outstanding warrants that are related to this charge?
No.
Has your attorney advised you of the minimum and maximum sentence to the charge that you're pleading to?
Yes.
The minimum maximum for possession of a firearm by a convicted felon is 1 to 5 years to serve. Do you understand that this is a negotiated plea of guilty, which means the state will recommend to the court a sentence of 3 years probation, but the court does not have to accept that recommendation. The court can sentence you to the maximum on this charge, which is the 5 years to serve.
Yes.
Do you understand this is a guilty plea, which is permanently recorded on your criminal history?
Yes.
Do you understand this plea may be used to enhance sentencing on other convictions in this jurisdiction as well as other jurisdictions, including the federal courts?
Yes.
Do you understand that if your current
Whoops, stop. Ms. Hall, you disappeared for a second.
Am I back?
You're back.
But repeat the last question, please. You froze.
Do you understand this is a guilty plea which is permanently recorded on your criminal history?
Yes.
Do you understand if you're currently on probation or parole, your probation or parole may be revoked based on you entering a guilty plea today?
Yes.
Do you understand if you're placed on probation of any kind, you cannot violate any criminal laws of any governmental unit or any special conditions of probation without being subject to revocation for the balance of the sentence?
Yes.
Do you understand if you're not a United States citizen, a guilty plea conviction will affect your immigration status and will result in deportation, just as a conviction at trial would? And this is true regardless of any advice by your attorney or anyone else.
Yes.
Do you understand there may be other adverse or unfavorable consequences as a result of this guilty plea conviction, just as there would be from a conviction following a trial? For example, your guilty plea may affect the right to vote, the right to hold public office, the right to serve on a jury, the right to obtain a passport, the right to receive, possess, or transport a firearm, or the ability to obtain employment.
Yes.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty to a felony, if you use, receive, possess, or transport a firearm, or use a firearm in a crime, you will be guilty of a felony, which may carry a sentence of 1 to 15 years in prison?
Yes.
Do you understand that you waive any and all defenses, including any mental health defenses, by entering a plea of guilty?
Yes.
Do you understand that if you went to trial, you have the right to a trial by jury, the right to see, hear, and confront witnesses called to testify against you, and the right to remain silent and not incriminate yourself?
Yes.
Do you understand that by pleading, you're giving up the following rights: the right to a trial by jury, the right to remain silent and not incriminate yourself, the right to confront witnesses against you, the right to the assistance of counsel hired by you or to court-appointed counsel, the right to the presumption of innocence, the right to testify on your own behalf and to present other evidence, the right to subpoena witnesses and compel the production of evidence, the right to have the charges against you proved beyond a reasonable doubt, and the right to appeal if convicted of these charges after a trial.
Yes.
Has anyone forced, threatened, or promised you anything to get you to enter a guilty plea today?
No.
Is it your decision to waive these rights and enter a guilty plea because you're in fact guilty?
Yes.
How do you plead to the single charge of possession of a firearm by a convicted felon in indictment number 19 SC 171985?
Guilty.
Is this guilty plea freely and voluntarily given with full knowledge of the charge against you?
Yes.
Do you understand that you only have a limited right to appeal this guilty plea conviction?
Yes.
Do you understand that you only have 4 years from today for a felony charge to file a habeas corpus petition challenging the voluntariness of this guilty plea?
Yes.
Thank you. Your Honor, the state is aware of 6 prior convictions by the defendant. I'm sorry, one moment. Those convictions are pretty old, from 2000 to 2007. But if you would like for me to tell you what they are, I will.
No, that's okay. At least one of them I'm aware of because I've now figured out how to pull up the indictment. And he has a 2007 conviction for aggravated assault. It's an
Right.
06 SC case. And it sounds like Mr. Floyd's other convictions are older than that. So that would be his most recent. Then there was a break in the action. He picked up the 2012 case for simple possession of cocaine, and then nothing until late 2019 when these charges came along.
Right.
Okay.
And Your Honor, if this case had proceeded to trial, the state would have proven that on September the 28th, 2019 at 1250 Elizabeth Avenue, South.
You're freezing, Ms. Hall.
I'm sorry.
You don't have to apologize. It's not you. But you were given the address where the incident occurred. If you do that again.
Okay. It occurred at 1250 Elizabeth Avenue. That's Elizabeth Avenue Southwest, Atlanta, Georgia, in Fulton County. Did y'all get that? Okay.
That's good.
Your Honor, officers were dispatched to that location on a fight call. They were told that there were several men fighting in front of a house, and there were several guns out when they arrived to that location. And I'm sorry, on the call, they were told that an individual with a white shirt on put a handgun inside of a glove compartment of a vehicle. When they arrived at the location, they saw the defendant sitting in the passenger seat of a car. They encountered him, asked him questions. As they were talking to him, one of the officers noticed blood on his shirt. He said that he knew people were engaging, had disagreements or fights, but he wasn't involved in any of the fights. But during the conversation with the officers or the investigation, one of the officers noticed I'm sorry, Your Honor, the end of the magnums of a gun in his pocket. And when they searched his name, they saw that he was a convicted felon. They did search the vehicle that he was in. They did find a gun. They didn't specify whether that gun still had the clips in them or not, but that there was a gun found under the driver's seat of that vehicle. They pulled up the defendant's history, saw that he was a convicted felon and shouldn't have had the magnums or the gun in the car. That's why we are here now. The state decided.
I'm gonna stop you for a sec. He had in his pocket the magazines, as in the things you put the ammunition in.
Yes, I had a freeze there. I couldn't figure out.
Okay.
What that
So
was. Yeah,
that's what caught their attention, is that one end or the other of the pistol magazines was visible when they were interacting with Mr. Floyd.
Right. And they asked him, I think they asked him, I'm sorry, I reviewed the body counts a while ago, but they did ask him if he had any weapons and anything on him. He was very cooperative in this investigation. Just one of the officers could see inside of his pocket and notice the clips, the magazine clips in his pocket. It was 2 of them that were fully loaded. But there were the other half of the gun was not on him. And it's my understanding, because they didn't say that it wasn't a fully loaded clipped gun. It's my understanding that there was an entire gun found under the driver's seat. The state decided to offer the defendant 3 years probation because of the circumstances of what happened. He did have some blood on his shirt, not a lot, just enough to catch one of the officers' attention and inquire about him being involved in the dispute that was going on. But he did have clips that he shouldn't have had being a convicted felon, so we did consider that. But the fact that his history is kind of old, that possession of cocaine case was never prosecuted by my office, we just decided to offer 3 years probation and be done and resolve this case.
Okay. Ms. Crawford, do you have any open active cases for Mr. Floyd?
Judge, Mr. Floyd has no open active cases right now.
And is the most recent one in your system that 2006 case? The
Yes,
aggravated assault?
that's correct.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Patel?
Mr. Floyd, I'm going to ask if you could stand right over here so I can speak up over here. Thank you, Your Honor. This case, I've had this case for a while, and it's been a long round of negotiations between different district attorneys. And the reason is because the body camera in this case shows quite a large level of police misconduct. Police arrive to the scene after there's a fight call. When they get to the scene, there's no one there. My client is sitting in a green BMW. They ask him to get out of the car. They start asking him questions about what happened. He said that some guys were fighting. At that point, they notice a bulge in his pocket, ask him what's in his pocket. They see the clip. They immediately arrest my client. Then they ask if he's a convicted felon. He says yes. Then they say, we're not going to violate your rights, but we can ask you some questions and we don't have to read you your Miranda rights. And so this is all on camera. I sent it to Ms. Hall. They put him in a police car. Before they even find a gun, there's a conversation between 5 officers and they discuss what they could possibly charge my client with. And one says, well, a clip is enough to charge him with possession of a firearm by convicted felon. Another officer says, no, you actually need the firearm. So this discussion happens for about 20 or so minutes as they figure out what they can charge him with. In the meantime, another officer is attempting to look around the car to see if they can see anything else. And he says that he thinks he sees the handle of a gun under the car. So Mr. Floyd is then taken away. The car is not searched, it's impounded. And it's only after it's taken to the police precinct that they say that they found the gun. So at no point on the body camera is there anything that captures the actual firearm being recovered or where it is. That we would just have to trust that at some point when it was impounded that it was located. But my client was cooperative the whole time. The reason we're entering this plea is that the prosecutor's office was willing to null process this cocaine count on his other case. Your Honor, a little bit about my client. As you heard, he doesn't have any convictions prior to or since 2007. He's currently working as a janitor at Georgia Tech. He does that 4 days a week. He has 3 kids that all live in Atlanta. He's been a lifelong resident. We are asking, Your Honor, that to see if the court would be willing to waive a year of probation fees. My client is providing for his family, but he doesn't work full time. And he's been part-time for about 5 months now. And so I do believe that he will be a good candidate on probation and that I don't think he will be an individual that they have to worry about monitoring.
Mr. Floyd, can you come a little closer to the microphone now? I'll have Ms. Patel slide to the side. How long have you had the job at Georgia Tech?
About 5 months.
How'd you get the job?
Through Bobby Dodd Institute.
Okay. How long had you been in Bobby Dodd Institute?
About a year.
Great. How'd you get involved with that?
I had seen him on the internet.
And you just on your own went there?
Yep, and applied.
Great. How many hours a week would you say you work?
I'll say about 30.
So it's a little more than part-time, but it's not full-time. And do they pay you cash? Does it go into a bank account? Where does the money
Bank
go?
account.
So it's direct deposit?
Yes.
How old are your 3 kids?
It's 14, 12, and 2.
Do any of them live with you?
No.
Do you live alone or in an apartment? Where are you? I don't need your address, but where?
In a home, I stay by myself.
Okay, you've got your own place?
Yes.
How often do you see your kids?
Every other day.
Do they live together or do they live in separate places?
Separate places. 2 live with one mom, and the baby live with his mom.
Okay, so 2 moms, the older ones are in one place and then the younger one is in a different place.
Yes.
All in the Atlanta area?
Yes.
Okay. And why was there blood on your shirt on September 28th?
They're trying to stop everybody from fighting.
What were people fighting over? Did you
Like
come across the fight or you were already hanging out with these guys when the fight happened?
We had just pulled up, me and a friend, and they just got into it. Friend who I was with.
Your friend got into it with other people.
Yes.
And then where did he go? It doesn't sound like he was there when the police came.
Everybody ran.
Because the police showed up?
Yes.
Okay. And you got into the middle of it trying to break it up, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And in your pocket was 1 magazine or 2? 1 clip or 2?
1.
Okay. For what kind of gun?
I guess a 9mm.
You say you guess, you're not sure?
Yeah.
Why are you not sure?
Because I really had picked it up off the ground.
There at the scene?
Yes.
Okay. Well, it sounds like that was a wrong place for you to be.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions for me about this situation?
No, sir.
All right. Well, the state has agreed to dismiss your older case, the 12 SC case, so I'll make that happen today. And in this more recent case, the joint recommendation is 3 years probation. I find, Mr. Floyd, that there's a factual basis for your plea.
Yeah.
I don't think you're supposed to have ammunition or any part of a gun on you or near you. And whether you were just trying to pick it up because you didn't want your friend to get in trouble or you brought it to the party, in some ways doesn't matter. It's just stuff you need to stay away from. It's not an opportunity you get to enjoy because of your criminal history. And I appreciate Ms. Patel describing some of the missteps the police may have taken as they were trying to sort out what to do. It sounds like they were responding to a fight call and you had blood on you and they were a little confused about what happened. I also find that your plea is knowing and voluntary. Knowing means that you've understood all the things we've been talking about. Is that true?
Yes.
Voluntary means no one's forcing you to enter this plea, but after talking with your lawyer, Ms. Patel, you've decided that the right thing for you to do is to enter the plea. Is that true?
Yes.
Then I'm going to accept your plea. I'm sentencing you pursuant to what's called the Probation Options Management Act. And all that means, Mr. Floyd, is that while you're on probation, if you have a small problem on probation, maybe you miss a meeting or you move and you don't tell them you moved or something like that, an administrative issue, you and probation will work that out. If it's a bigger problem, you get arrested again for something, that comes back to me. Okay? I will sentence you to 3 years probation. And what I will do is reduce your supervision fees by 50% as long as you are working less than 40 hours a week. I don't remember the exact amount you're expected to pay each month, but I'm making this up. If it's $20, you're going to pay $10 a month. But if you get to working full time, then you can pay what other folks on probation would pay. What was at this Elizabeth Avenue address where you got picked up?
It was a house.
Whose house?
A guy, I guess.
Okay, meaning your friend knew the guy who was at that house?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any reason why you need to be back there?
No.
Okay.
No,
Then I
don't
think what I'll do is also include that you stay away from that address. Can you give me the street number again, please, Ms. Hall?
1250.
All right, so 1250 Elizabeth Avenue, you'll stay away from, just because that seems to be a place that didn't end well for you.
Yeah.
Obviously, you still can't have guns on you or near you or in your household.
Yeah.
So make sure you abide by that. Ms. Hall, anything else in Mr. Floyd's case?
Nothing else from the state, Your Honor.
Ms. Patel?
Just really quickly, I think we need on the record that we're allowing you to sign in our absence.
Yes, thank you. I'll do that. And then you're going to get some information from Ms. Crawford, who's on the screen there. She's with probation. And she's going to give you information about when to report and where to report. So you may want Ms. Patel to write it down for you, so you leave with a piece of paper. Mr. Floyd, normally you would sign your indictment today indicating that you're entering a guilty plea. Your indictment's on my screen here. I'm going to print it out when I take a break. Do you authorize me to sign your name on your behalf?
Yes.
Ms. Patel, do you authorize me to do the same?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Ms. Hall?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, I will take care of the signatures and we'll handle it that way. Ms. Crawford, do you want to tell Mr. Floyd what he needs to know?
Yes, Judge. I also need to get some information from him if you would allow. I need an address, a contact person's name, and then I can give him his reporting instructions, the time and date.
Sure, we'll go off the record for this. So we're done with the Floyd plea. Someone just joined us. Who is Prissy Tay? Great. How you doing, Ms. Weeks? She's sorting that out. Okay, that's all good. She can work through that. So, Mr. Floyd, you need to answer Ms. Crawford's questions,
Yes.
and then she's going to give you some info, and I'm going to be quiet.
Okay.
Mr. Floyd, I need a mailing address for you.
636 Whitaker Street. It's
What street is that?
WHITAKER, Atlanta, Georgia, 30318.
Do you reside in Fulton County?
Yes.
You have a contact person, like an emergency contact you would like to put down?
Mother, Barbara Jung, Jung. Her number is 404-484-4706.
Okay, I'm gonna give you your reporting instructions. Your date is gonna be August the 4th. That's 3 weeks from today at 8 a.m.
Okay.
The address is gonna be 276 Memorial Drive Southwest, Atlanta, Georgia. And the zip code is 30303.
Okay.
Okay, if you need a contact, if you need to reach out to somebody before then, I'm gonna give you my number so that you can contact me if you have any questions.
Okay.
Okay, it's 470-303-6860. And I'm Miss Crawford.
Okay.
Okay, you have any questions?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So I'll take care of signing the indictment, and we'll get the guilty form filed. You're good to go.
Okay.
No more fights.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I am unmuted now. We've taken care of Mr. Floyd, and that gets us all the way up to position 7, which is State versus Griggs. Where's Mr. Griggs, if you know, Ms. Patel?
Your Honor, I don't expect Mr. Griggs to show just because he is homeless. We don't have any contact information, but I would ask Your Honor not to issue a bench warrant in this case. The reason I ask that is that the state is willing to null press counts 1 and 2. The only thing Mr. Griggs would be pleading to if he were to come to court is a criminal trespass. And so if Your Honor would be willing to place this on judicial hold in the event that Mr. Griggs does come through the system again. And I ask it just because the charge is no longer as serious anymore. And I would hate for him to be caught up in something if he gets arrested.
Ms. Hall, is the state null processing counts 1 and 2?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Nelson, if you could do what you do with indictments to indicate that counts 1 and 2 have been null processed, I'll sign that, and then we can move this case to judicial hold status or whatever we call it. And hopefully we'll meet Mr. Griggs again sometime soon, but that seems like the right place to put it. Do you need anything else, Ms. Nelson?
Sorry, no, sir. I got
Okay.
it all.
All right, that gets us to our 10:45 position. It's not quite 10:45, but it looks like we can jump on it because Mr. Franklin is here. And I think Ms. Weeks was trying to get an audio connection.
I think we may have it figured out.
Okay,
Can you hear us, Ms. Weeks?
Yes.
There we go. I'm gonna log off my Zoom.
great. So Ms. Weeks is charged with burglary in the 2nd degree. This is a final plea. So ideally, we'll be talking about whether the case has worked itself out or if it needs to go to trial, but that hasn't been exactly how we've handled all these. Mr. Franklin, where are we with Ms. Weeks's case?
We haven't worked it out. We are still waiting on video that we need in discovery. And it's my understanding that the Atlanta Police Department has kind of been playing keep away with the state to some extent. And typically, this is a situation where I would seek other measures. But I know that Ms. Hall has made several efforts to try to get that stuff. So I don't know if it would be appropriate to request a reset. And I don't know if maybe if I did a motion to compel and she can use that to kind of force the police to be more cooperative with her. I know that she's made efforts though.
Okay. Ms. Nelson, I noticed there's a W next to this entry. Is there a warrant for Ms. Weeks?
I don't know if Ms. Nelson heard you, Your Honor. I'm saying that there's an active warrant for it that was issued on March the 12th of this year.
Okay. Ms. Nelson,
March the 12th.
do you have any info on that?
I'm sorry, Judge, I changed screens. I'm checking. Give me just a few minutes. I'm bringing it up.
Sure. I remember this case, the Get Fruity business.
Correct.
But it's in College Park. Why is APD?
I've said APD.
It's College Park. I think he just misspoke.
Okay. Everyone wants to blame APD.
For everything.
Yes, I show a warrant, Judge. Let me look in the system and see for what date.
What the fuck?
It looks like it's from pretrial. Can you hear me, Judge?
I can.
It looks like pretrial issued the warrant on March 12th. Let me go in and see if I can figure out what they said, the reason for the warrant.
Mr. Franklin, remind me, this is coming back now that I saw the indictment and Mr. Fox. Am I remembering that Mr. Fox is basically sort of the civil complainant here saying, Ms. Weeks broke into my business or stole this. And your thought is that video would show something different happened, or?
So the video is what he says proves it's her. And without an ability to evaluate that, we say it's not her, of course.
Okay. And Mr. Fox provided the video allegedly to College Park PD?
That's what he has informed Ms. Hall.
Okay.
My investigator reached out to him and he was just not cooperative whatsoever with us.
Okay. And Ms. Hall, tell me what's been going on with you in College Park.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. So originally I thought Mr. Fox had the surveillance since it is his store. I spoke with him back in the early days of May, and he told me that he did. So I was waiting for him to send me a copy of that. When I spoke that he didn't have a copy of it, that he allowed the officer to come and use a USB to get a copy of it. And now since it's been so long, he don't have any other copies of it. So at that point, I reached out to College Park to inquire if it was uploaded to evidence.com or, wherever open records. They sent me everything that they had that does not include this video. So I've now been trying to get in contact, and they did that. I found out that information on the 9th, that was last week. So now since then, I've been trying to get in contact with the actual officer, but apparently he works third shift. So there's been a couple nights where I've tried to stay up and catch him when he's at work, but I wasn't successful. And so that is the issue now. So I'm gonna get my investigator on it to see if she can get in contact with maybe his sergeant during that shift, because likely he has it in his actual file, the actual USB. And I'm with Mr. Franklin. I spoke with the victim again on yesterday, and he seems very adamant about her being on this particular video, and kind of got frustrated with me because I'm inquiring so much about the video, but we do need it. And apparently there's also another video that showed Miss Weeks parked a couple blocks down from the store and walked to the store. So those videos are very important. So I am now trying to locate this officer to see if I can get the video directly from his case file.
Got it. So as I understand it, the only evidence that would show that Ms. Weeks purportedly did what Mr. Fox reported would be video. There's no eyewitness.
There's no eyewitness. There's circumstantial evidence, like there was no break-in, there was a key used, which Ms. Weeks have a key, she worked there, all that circumstantial evidence, but no direct evidence that Ms. Weeks went into this establishment.
Okay. So your investigator's going to try to connect with the officer who works third shift to say, look, we got the case file, but we need whatever's on this thumb drive, which may be two videos. One would be internal to the fruit business, and the other would be something showing Ms. Weeks walking down the street.
Yes.
Okay. It does seem like they'll be dispositive, and Ms. Weeks will have a lot of explaining to do in the face of these denials if the videos are clear. And if the video shows someone else, really Mr. Fox is going to have some explaining to do as to why he would report this about Ms. Weeks.
I will add, Your Honor, one of the things we mentioned during our last pre-trial about the case, one of the paragraphs, and I think the officer used the wrong word. He said, although the video was not inclusive, I think he means conclusive, Fox stated the perpetrator was an ex-employee by the name of Fantasia Weeks.
Okay.
So I'm not sure how good of a video it is, but if it was used in any way, which is why we want it.
Sure,
right.
Sure.
And Your Honor, that was the frustrating part that happened to me yesterday, because that part is important in the police report. So I tried to inquire with the victim about that particular sentence, as to whether it was something that anybody can point Ms. Weeks out in this video, or is it something that he just knows this person because he works with her, and the frustration came. So I'm gonna just try to get the video and we can just all see it.
Sounds like a plan. I think what we'll do is we'll move Ms. Weeks's case onto another final plea calendar in the not too distant future. But we do need to work out this warrant. Have you learned anything more, Ms. Nelson?
Yes, pretrial came off the warrant because they said that she had new arrest in Henry County on February 20th, 2020. So that's why they came off the warrant, and then you issued a bench warrant.
Okay. Well, we need to work through that. I don't want Ms. Weeks to get picked up. I mean, she'll get picked up on a warrant because pretrial has said we're not supervising anymore. Is you can talk with her about how you want to manage that.
I'm reading it two different ways.
Well, Ms. Weeks is currently not subject to pretrial supervision, which was a condition of her bond. And I or someone has signed a warrant for her arrest because of some arrest out of Henry County. So we need to work through that. It's not okay for her to appear remotely with a warrant outstanding. Maybe it would be appropriate for Ms. Weeks to go back on pretrial supervision if everyone had more information about whatever it was that happened. I think Ms. Nelson said Henry County. Okay. So I'm not trying to be cryptic.
I got you. I'll hop off and make a phone call and talk to her about what that's about.
Okay. We'll just pop this back on a final plea calendar a few weeks out, and hopefully College Park can get to Ms. Hall what she needs, and hopefully that'll make it clear what needs to happen with the case.
Yes, sir.
So would August 6th be okay?
Yeah, I think that's good. So Ms. Hall, keep us posted on that. Ms. Weeks, Mr. Franklin's going to reach out to you because there's a problem with your bond. All right.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm good to go.
You can hop off. I want to give you a call on your phone now this week.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So our next case, hold on one second. So our next case is actually 3 defendants, one of whom is on now, Attorney Howard's client. I guess they're all represented by private counsel.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. I don't see any of those lawyers. Ms. Nelson, I remember Ms. Porter sending you an email saying, why do I have to be here? The state still owes us lots of discovery, but I thought the response was because we need to talk about the status of the case.
Correct.
Well, it's not 11 yet. I guess they still have about 10 minutes.
Correct.
So I'm going to sit tight. And that's actually, so Ms. Hightower, you're early. You're welcome to stay on. You don't need to get off. You're not till 11:15. That's when your attorney should be plugging in. Your co-defendant, Ms. Hart, is on at 11, and hopefully she and her lawyer will dial in, and we'll see what happens. I'm going to go print out indictment and a few other things. Ms. Patel, you're done. All right. All right. Have a good day. George, I think we're good. It's static now, meaning it's not shifting around as long as, and we may not have anyone else coming in.
Okay.
In case we do, let's leave that. If we don't, then what do I need to do if, let me turn this off. If I learn that everyone else is going to be remote, so it's purely Zoom, couldn't I then start talking through here? Right. What do I need to do to kill that? Well, I guess I could just ditch 1D. If I close out 1D, exactly. Then I can go through this.
And next time, if you like, we can try the speaker to close that.
So tomorrow morning, we've got a pretty important hearing. It's the JQC thing, so it's not
court here. It is, witness have.
You too? All right. Sorry, folks, I'm back. Ms. Kellicott, are you able to hear me? Great. Ms. Hall, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, Your Honor, I can hear you.
Good. I'm running this just through my computer right now because I don't think we're going to have anyone coming into court. I think the rest of the appearances are remote, but let's see. It is now a little after 11. So hopefully, do we have, there's Ms. Porter. Hello, Ms. Porter. You're on mute.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. Is your client, there's Ms. Hart. Ms. Hart is sideways.
She is.
All
I
right.
believe she's on her phone, but she is here.
That's fine. Good morning, Ms. Hart. Well, as long as we can hear you, Ms. Porter, for now, that'll work. Whoop.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Not sideways anymore. So this is a final plea calendar. Ideally, what we'd be doing today is saying it's worked out, here's the resolution, or there's no way it's going to work out. And then we would move the case to a trial calendar. But I think there has been some email traffic to the effect that the case isn't necessarily at the point yet where people can say, we know it's not going to work out, or we have worked it out. And I need to understand why that is. We got everyone together in May. So there's been 2 more months to try to get things done. Just looking at the charges, I don't know much about the case, but looking at the charges, looks like it's largely going to be, here's the paper discovery. Why don't we start with the first one we were to hear from was Ms. Hart. So Ms. Porter, tell me where you are on behalf of Ms. Hart right now.
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Hall and I believe that we have a resolution. We need to finagle a couple of the details and get the paperwork into your office. And then I think that we'll be able to close the case relatively quickly. I don't foresee this going to trial. I think that what Ms. Hall and I are working out, we should be able to get back to the court in the next couple of days and get the case resolved.
Okay. Ms. Hall, remind me, just sort of 10,000 foot overview, what's this case about? It's got lots of counts. They overlap just with count one, it looks like. Everyone's charged with this one count of financial identity fraud, and then there are different pieces of bad checks and forgery, et cetera. You still with us, Ms. Hall?
Sorry, Your Honor, I got kicked out, so I just came back.
Okay. So give me an overview of what the case is about.
It's a theft case. A car was broken into, a purse was taken, checks were used at 3 different accounts. Those are the 3 defendants that we charged. We have not been able to identify who entered the vehicle. It was a witness that said a guy in a white shirt and blue jeans was the person that entered the car. We can't link these 3 defendants to that, only that they used the checks from our victim. Those checks were, the money was returned to the victim by the banks. We have reached out to that bank, and we haven't heard anything back as far as their loss. I did reach out to all 3 of the attorneys on this case and made offers to them. The offers were yesterday, so all of them have not had time to speak with their clients. But that is the case. It is a case that should have stayed a non-complex, but they thought it was complex, so they brought it to our courtroom, and it wasn't that complex. The issue with the discovery, still have not gotten all the discovery. And that's because I've been having. Are you guys on?
We're hearing most of you. You were talking about an issue you had with discovery. So Ms. Porter, how much time do you feel you need to iron out the final details with Ms. Hall?
Your Honor, I would think a week or 2. The offer is essentially some form of PTI, and there's just some underlying issues that Ms. Hall and I were working through. So I don't even necessarily know that we need to be on another calendar, because I think once we work out the details, we'll just transition Ms. Hart directly into PTI and get this resolved.
Okay, I agree for the most part, but I find that having you on a calendar is a good forcing mechanism to make sure that you guys actually get done what you intend to do, but other things come up. But it sounds like a week or 2 would be enough for you, Ms. Porter, and Ms. Hall to iron out what you think the remaining details are.
Yes, Your Honor. If we're going to be on a calendar, can it be at least 2 weeks out?
Yes. Let me see if, is Attorney Howard, I do not see Attorney Howard. His client has been on throughout. And then I see Mr. Miller is on. You're on early. Your client's not due till 11:30, Mr. Miller. What's the posture of the case for you right now?
For the most part, we did receive an offer from Ms. Hall last night, and that offer was PTI. I was able to speak with my client, and we have accepted that offer. We actually signed the paperwork. I signed on behalf of my client with her permission, of course, and I submitted that paperwork to Ms. Hall last night. And so, as far as things on our end, we've already filled out the paperwork and submitted it to 88 Hall, and I think everything should be finalized today, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Hall, were your offers to the 3 defendants through a formal PTI program, or were these virtual PTI programs?
Regular PTI, possibly through AIM. One of the clients, Ms. Hart, she had some other issues that were going on with her personally, so I decided that virtual PTI was more appropriate for her.
Okay, and Mr. Howard just joined us. You're not late, Mr. Howard. We're not getting ahead of you or anything. There were a few lawyers who were already on, and I was getting an update from Ms. Hall. And as I understand it, she has offered to each of the 3 defendants the opportunity to resolve this case through some form of pretrial intervention.
That's right, Judge. We had a long conversation today, and she's been more than fair, and I think that's going to resolve my client's case. I just have to get the last confirmation from her. But from my previous talks with my client, I think that's going to resolve it. So.
Okay. So Ms. Porter, it sounds like the other 2 folks are pretty squared away. Is there a reason you think it might not work out, or you just need a little more time to iron out details?
We just need some more time to iron out the details. I'm almost 100% positive that it's going to work out.
Okay, and no one's committing till they put the ink on the paper. So Mr. Miller, you've signed on behalf of your client, and that paperwork is either with Ms. Hall or on the way to Ms. Hall. Mr. Howard, you need more time to speak with your client or with Ms. Hall?
No, I even had pretrial just call me before I got on the line. So I just have to speak with my client, and that's all I need to do at this point.
Okay, well, she's been on for a while. She was the first to dial in, so she's been hearing about other cases as well, but she's been here. Ms. Lett is not on the call yet. She's not late because we staggered these by 15 minutes. Mr. Miller, were you planning on having Ms. Lett dial in, or did you tell her because you've worked the case out, she doesn't need to dial in?
When I spoke with her yesterday, Your Honor, she indicated that she had made intentions to actually appear in person. However, this morning I went ahead and just forwarded her the Zoom link. It was attached to the email, just so that she would have the option to sign in. So I can give her a call to just to get a estimated time of arrival if she's going to appear in person. But I could also let her know she can just stop what she's doing and just kind of sign in on her cell phone, if that's okay.
Sure. Why don't you let her know that? She's welcome to come in. It's lonely here, but it sounds like you and she have sorted things out.
Yes.
Okay. So Ms. Porter, what we'll do is set this out a couple weeks. The calendar it goes on may not be a final plea calendar. It may be an inquiry calendar or something, but we all know what the posture of the case is. You and Ms. Hart will work through what you need to work through. Ms. Hart, do you have any questions of me, or you're good to go?
If she has any questions, Your Honor, I'll take care of it.
Okay. And then Mr. Howard, you and Ms. Hightower, it sounds like, have worked through things. And do I need to put Ms. Hightower back on the calendar, or the paperwork it's basically on its way to Ms. Hall?
It's basically going to be on the way to Ms. Hall. Everything should be fine. I just have to get the final okay, because all this happened this morning, and I haven't had a chance to run it by Ms. Hightower. So she's probably looking at me like, why haven't you talked to me? But it all happened just before we had the meeting. So
okay.
I probably, I could just call you or call your assistant, have it taken off if we sign the paperwork, so we can have that date just in case something happens.
Sure, that's what we'll do. So we will keep Hart and Hightower on a calendar for a couple weeks out. As soon as you get it resolved through PTI or whatever it's going to be, let Ms. Nelson know and we can take it off the calendar. But that way, no one will forget about it. But we will take Lakeisha Lett off, because it sounds like that paperwork has been completed. And that ought to resolve. Are there any other defendants in the case, Ms. Hall, or it's just 3?
It's just 3 defendants, Your Honor.
Okay, great. Then that ought to resolve it. Ms. Porter, anything else we need to talk about on behalf of Ms. Hart?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Howard, anything else on behalf of Ms. Hightower?
That's it. Thank you, Judge.
Okay. Mr. Miller, I am happy to say hi to Ms. Lett if she comes in the courtroom, but it doesn't sound like we need to get her plugged in unless you think she has something to add.
I don't believe so, Your Honor. I was able to speak with her. She said she was actually on her way, but stopped what she was doing so she can just sign in instead.
Great. Sounds like a plan. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Your
Thank
Honor.
you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Hightower, just give me a call. Call the office when we hang up, if you don't mind. Do you hear me?
Yes,
Just go,
yes, I
call
hear
the,
you.
go ahead and call the office so we can talk. Thanks.
Okay, all right.
So Ms. Nelson, our next matter is not for a little bit. Is that well, you may know, Ms. Hall, is that your case or is this a major case? It's a serious injury by vehicle.
Major case.
Major case.
Okay, so Mr. Pinion ought to be dialing in, and then we go off for an hour and a half because I have a meeting, and then we're back at 1:30. Are those last two cases, Alexis Brown and DeMarcus Simmons or Simons, are those yours, Ms. Hall?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
But on the number 14, the case that the attorney Lancaster, I do believe he's on a civil trial, Judge. And so the office is called to find out, do you want the defendant to zoom in or come to court? But clearly the attorney had submitted his letter of conflict, and I do believe Ms. Hollis talked to him last night.
Yes, we spoke last night, Your Honor, and he wanted me to inform the court. He said that his secretary was going to inform you all as well, but just in case that we pretty much have a negotiated agreement. He needs to confirm it is the same negotiated agreement we've been working on. The only part that we were missing was the restitution amount. I got that. I sent that over to him. So he's not going to be available because of the trial, but he said that he'll reach out to you all to get another date so that we can take the plea once he confirms with his client that he's still okay with the plea.
Okay, well, why don't we do that, Ms. Nelson? So Mr. Simmons does not need to dial in or show up in court. His lawyer's not going to be here. It sounds like it is soon to be resolved, and we'll put it on a calendar a couple weeks out and see what we can do. So then we've basically got two positions left. We've got Octavius Gooden at 11:45, and then we've got Alexis Brown at 1:30.
Correct.
Okay. Then I'll come back out here in about 20 minutes, and that will be the Octavius Gooden time. If other folks, if everyone gets on earlier, Ms. Nelson, just send me an email or an alert back in chambers and I'll come out. Otherwise, we'll be back in about 20 minutes. And Ms. Hall, I think you're good to go as long as you're confident that Mr. Pinion is plugging in. Then we'll see you at 1:30.
Okay, Your Honor, I'm pretty confident, but I'll stay just
Well, no, I'm sure he is. Miss Hornsby talked to him this morning, so I think.
And Ms. Rolak's been in contact with him as well.
Mhm.
But if y'all need me, I'll still be sitting here working, so I can dial right back in.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Sounds
All
good.
right.
Thank
you.
you.
Guys, 1:30. You're welcome.